Word reference, what is it? Well, it's essentially a translator, just like Google Translate does, except it's a lot more powerful and accurate than Google is. I've been using word reference since grade 9 or grade 10. One of my French teachers showed it to me, and ever since then, I've been using it. I used it in university when I studied French. I used it in teachers' college when I was teaching in French, and I've used it since I've started to teach 5 years ago. So it's a great resource and great tool to always be using, and it's far more powerful than Google Translate is. So let's look at a couple examples and why you'd want to use word reference over Google Translate. So what I see a lot of you guys doing is a lot of you will go translate English to French, and you'll type in what you want to translate. So hello. Okay, there's no issue with that. When you select one word, usually it translates it to the correct word. What Google will do, it's programmed to take the word that's most commonly translated or the most commonly used word and translate it to that one. Sometimes in English, well, any language, we have words that can mean one thing. We have words that can mean two things. We have one word that can mean five different things. We can have a word that means 10 different things. So, how is a computer supposed to know which word that you actually want? It doesn't. It picks the one that's most recently or most commonly used, and it's up to you to proofread it. So, if I said, hello, my name is Matt, it'll translate it to bonjour, mon nom est Matt, which is correct until you start taking a deeper look at it. On this side, Matt has two T's, and on this side, Matt has one T. What Google has done, Google has taken the word Matt, like something that is dull or not shiny, and has translated it because I did not put a capital in the first letter of my name. Now, this is an issue a lot of users have when they type on tablets or when they're typing on a phone. On the application. And the reason why is because we forget to put the shift key to make it a capital letter. So if I put a capital, boom, Google's now translated my sentence correctly. So if you even want, you can click the speaker and it'll read it to you. So it's pretty useful. Google can translate a sentence probably without an issue, maybe even two sentences. But when you start getting 2, 3, 4 sentences, a paragraph, or even if you put in a word that has more than one meaning, you can start coming across some problems on Google Translate. So why use word reference? Well, let's get into word reference. So to get to word reference, you type wordreference.com, or you can search word reference in the Google toolbar, and it should be the first link. So when you get to word reference, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you change your language. So mine is automatically set from English to French because my browser is in French. Yours is probably going to default from English to Spanish because that's the first option it gives you. So make sure you go from English to French. If you're translating from French to English, then obviously go French to English. Let's look at a word. Let's look at the word bat. Now, when I think of a bat, I think of two things. I think of a baseball bat that you would play baseball with, and I think of the animal, a bat. So let's see what word reference gives us. From here all the way down to here, don't worry about it. You're not going to need it. As you get older, these things will make more sense and you'll probably need to use them. But right now, you don't need to use it. You don't need to worry about what's going on the left-hand side of the page. And you also don't need to worry about what's going on the right-hand side of the page. What you need to worry about is that up here, this is the word that you actually typed in. And you need to worry about this section down here, where it says Principale Traduction. This may say something else for you if you're using an English browser, but my Google Chrome is set to French, so everything I see most of the time is in French if possible. So on this side, it'll give you the English word, which should all be the same word that you just typed in, so bat. In the middle, it'll give you a more accurate definition, and on the right-hand side, it'll give you the French word. So let's go ahead and look at the first definition. So it says, a bat is a nocturnal flying mammal. At dusk, you can see many bats chasing insects over the field. So it gives you an example in a sentence, and right underneath it, it has translated that exact sentence into French. Au crépuscule, on peut voir plein des chauves-souris survoler le champ en quête des insectes. So, a little bit complicated of a sentence for a beginner, but I promise you that this sentence in English is exactly translated to this sentence in French. It's the exact same thing. And If we want to know how to say a bat in French, like the animal, it's une chauve-souris. The second option it gives us is a bat, like a club or a paddle. So in baseball or cricket, we say une batte de baseball. We can also say une bâton de baseball in Canada. In France, they use une batte. In Canada, we'll use a bâton. Doesn't really matter for me. You can use either or. And tennis de table is table tennis, and we say une raquette. We don't really, we say a racket in English. We don't really say a table tennis bat. You say a table tennis racket or a ping pong racket. So I guess that could be something in France where they'll say it's une batte. They'll call it a bat in English. But regardless, all three of these words have to do with a sport. Now, the other cool thing word reference will show you is it'll show you in English, this word is a noun. It refers to a person, place, or a thing. We all know what a noun is, okay? So it'll show you if it's a noun, an adjective, or a verb. On the right-hand side, not only will it show you if it's a noun, but it'll also show you if it's feminine or masculine. So for example, une chauve-souris is a nom féminin, so we have to use la or une with it, not un or le. It'll show you that also if you're talking about a baseball bat, and you use it with batte, B-A-T-T-E, it is also a nom féminin. But if you choose to use the word bâton, it's a nom masculin. So you need to use the word un or le in front of it as opposed to the word une or la. So here's one example of one word that has multiple meanings in English as in French. Let's look up another quick example. Spring. Spring is a good example. So when I think of spring, I think of two things. I either think of springtime, like the season of spring, okay, when you get nice flowers, or I think of a spring as a coil, like a metal spring that you would use to hold tension between two objects, or that you would put into a door, or that you would help with a mechanical weight. So two definitions of spring. And over here, when we look up spring, remember, we don't want to carry about this part. We don't really need this. And we're going to go down here. So it'll say spring is a season, printemps. Spring as in a coil that we just saw a picture of. It's called une resorte. So the other cool thing about word reference is just like how Google will give you that speaker option so you can hear the word, word reference will do it as well. Except if you click it up here, it'll give you the English version.
Spring.
Because that's the word that you searched. We want the French pronunciation. So we're going to click on this column over here where it says français, and you're going to click on any of the words. So let's say I know how to say printemps, but let's say I don't know how to say this word, jaillir, okay? So you click on it, it'll bring you to this new web page, and now instead of having English to French, it'll show you French to English because you're now translating the French word into English. And if you click écouter,
Jaillir.
and it speaks the word for you. So it's a very great tool. It has the same tools that Google has. You just have to kind of go one extra step to get the pronunciation of the French word. So let's go back to bat. I'm going to leave it over there. And let's open our Google Translate back up. Let's use the sentence, I left my bat at the vet. We'll even use a capital, so it's perfect. So I left my bat at the vet. In English, that sentence would essentially mean that you left your pet bat at the vet because they were probably sick. But when you translate it to French, j'ai laissé ma batte chez le vétérinaire. This word over here, bat, B-A-T-T-E. So if we go back down to bat, we're going to scroll down to our options. B-A-T-T-E was for a sports club or a paddle. It was for a baseball bat. It wasn't for an animal. If it was an animal, we would want the word chauve-souris. So why does Google give us this word, bat, as a baseball bat instead of chauve-souris? Well, it goes to what I said in the beginning of the video. Google Translate will pick the most commonly used word or the most commonly translated word. Remember, this word was for a baseball bat and not for a pet bat, which would have been chauve-souris. So, bat, B-A-T-T-E, is for a baseball bat or for a cricket bat. If you were talking about the animal, it would have said chauve-souris. So, what I know at this point is if you guys have done your homework and this was the assignment, you had to make a sentence describing an animal you left at the veterinarian or something. Most of you would translate this. hit copy, go to your Google Docs, and you would literally just paste it into a Google document, and you would go ahead and submit it to me, and you'd be like, there you go, there's my French homework done, and you'd walk away. And I hope you guys see the issue with that, is that it's not that you didn't do it correctly. You did it correctly, but you're choosing the wrong word. So it's really important that you don't let Google choose the answer for you, because Google's programmed a certain way. It's programmed to use the most commonly or most frequently used word. Your brain is the smarter one. Your brain may not have all the answers that Google has, but your brain is smart enough to know that I didn't leave my baseball bat at the vet, because why would I leave a baseball bat at at a veterinarian? This is why I tell you guys all the time, please use word reference instead of Google Translate, because Google Translate, you're really not learning anything. It's doing the work for you, and I guarantee you, to if I asked you to tell me what word you translated 2 weeks later or what that word meant, you'd forget it. But if you used word reference, your brain will probably remember it a little bit better, because you actually had to go into word reference and you had to pick the right word to use. So in the beginning, it's going to be a little bit slower than what you guys are used to. But give it some time. This is going to be way faster for you guys to use than Google Translate. And I promise you, you will be having to translate words a lot less, because you're going to start memorizing these words without even wanting to memorize it. It's just going to happen. You're going to be seeing, oh, a bat is a chauve-souris. I don't want this one. I want this one, a baseball bat, une bâton, or une batte, right? And maybe next week you'll have to write something about the animal a bat, or maybe next Halloween it comes time to write a sentence about a bat, and you're like, oh, I know how to say bat. It's a chauve-souris. And then people are going to be like, well, how do you know that? Yeah, I don't know how I know that. I just know that, right? So this is why I tell you guys to always, always, always use word reference. And one last thing, you can get it on your iPhone or iPad or on your Android device. Okay, they have the applications on the Google Play Store and on the App Store. It's free. Go ahead, download it. It's very small. It's like 1 or 2 megabytes, maybe 3 megabytes at most. And it's basically like a more condensed version of word reference. You actually don't even see this left-hand side or this right-hand side. I think you still see the middle part over here, but it gives you the main information. So try using word reference, and I guarantee you that you'll never make a mistake of leaving your baseball bat at the veterinarian again. Au revoir et à la prochaine.